exactly does it expire? On February 3rd, 4th, or 5th? And for what exact period?
It is unlikely that this holds any fundamental significance. We provided our comprehensive assessment yesterday regarding the consequences of this document's expiration and the American side's lack of response to our initiative.
February 5th arrives quietly. No signing ceremony, no press conference, no replacement treaty waiting in the wings. And just like that, the New START treaty is gone. For the first time in more than half a century, there will be no legally binding limits on the nuclear arsenals of the United States and Russia, the two countries that together hold 87% of the world's nuclear weapons. What happens next is not theoretical. It is immediate, measurable, and deeply dangerous. The first consequence is freedom to expand. Within months, both Washington and Moscow could dramatically increase the number of nuclear warheads deployed on their missiles and bombers. Reports say Russia could boost its deployed arsenal by roughly 60%. The United States could raise its numbers by more than 100%, not by building new weapons, but simply by loading more warheads onto systems that already exist. This is not a slow arms race, it's a switch being flipped. The second consequence is blindness. With New START gone, the inspections stop, the data exchanges end, the notifications, once occurring almost daily, fall silent. Each side loses its clearest window into the other's nuclear posture. No inspectors counting warheads, no advance notice of missile movements, no formal channel to resolve disputes. In nuclear strategy, uncertainty is fuel, and fuel feeds fear. That fear quickly becomes planning, worst-case planning. Military doctrines harden. Launch-on-warning postures grow more attractive.
Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov says once the treaty expires, the world will be more dangerous than ever before.
You are aware that the Russian side's initiative, which was clearly articulated by President Putin, remains on the table. We still have not received any response from the Americans regarding this initiative. Indeed, time is already shrinking like shriveling skin, and in just a few days the world will likely find itself in a far more perilous state than it has been until now. In fact, for the very first time, the United States and the Russian Federation, these are the two nations that possess the world's largest nuclear arsenals, will find themselves without a foundational document that would limit and control these arsenals. We understand that this is very bad for global security, for strategic security. For the remaining days, our proposal will stay on the agenda. You know that our Chinese friends are against this. Their nuclear potential is currently not comparable to that of Russia, nor to that of the United States. But at the very same time, it is important for us that when discussing the future system of strategic stability, we cannot abstract ourselves from the nuclear potentials of the United States allies in Europe, namely Great Britain and France. Without this, further discussions will be absolutely impossible. President Putin has also spoken about this on numerous occasions.
The third consequence is contagion. Once the United States and Russia abandon restraint, every other nuclear-armed state takes note. Why should anyone else hold back? Why should nations like China or North Korea exercise caution when the superpowers no longer do? Even U.S. allies may begin to question whether nuclear weapons are once again the ultimate guarantee of survival. This is how arms races spread. Diplomacy, for now, is frozen. After suspending the implementation of important aspects of the deal in 2023, Russia offered to observe New START's limits for one more year. However, the United States did not formally respond.
In order to avoid provoking a further escalation of the strategic arms race and to ensure an acceptable level of predictability and restraint, we consider it entirely justifiable to make an effort to preserve, at this current rather turbulent stage, the status quo that has been established and maintained through the New START Treaty. Therefore, Russia is prepared, following February 5th, 2026, to extend for an additional year its adherence to the central quantitative restrictions as outlined by the New START Treaty.
President Trump has insisted that any future deal must include China, a demand Beijing has flatly rejected. There is no framework, no timetable, no talks underway. Arms control has not stalled, it has stopped. And beyond the numbers lies something darker.
I'm going to have that conference primarily with China and Russia because those are the two that really are out there. And we're going to have them spend a lot less money, and we're going to spend a lot less money. And I know they're going to do it. They agreed to it. We were talking about denuclearized denuking, and President Putin and I agreed that we were going to do it in a very big way.
Without New START, the idea of nuclear disarmament is effectively dead. The promise made under the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty to move towards elimination now rings hollow. Instead, both Moscow and Washington are modernizing, expanding, and signaling readiness to use nuclear force in an increasingly unstable world. Trump's second term has shown little patience for treaties or international constraints. Putin has openly wielded nuclear threats during the war in Ukraine, recently firing hypersonic Oreshnik missile last month. These are not abstract risks. They are decisions taken in real time with irreversible consequences. Former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev, who signed the original New START treaty with former U.S. President Barack Obama in 2010, has warned the end of the agreement means the trust has been exhausted. The end of New START is not just the expiration of a treaty, it is the removal of the last brake on the most destructive weapons ever created. What happens next depends on choices still being made quietly, urgently, and without guardrails.
We've reached a point where both sides, with this treaty's expiration, could, for the first time in approximately 35 years, significantly increase the number of nuclear weapons currently deployed by each nation. And this would open up the possibility of an unconstrained, dangerous three-way arms race, not just between the US and Russia, but also involving China, which is also increasing its smaller but still deadly nuclear arsenal to respond to Golden Dome by building up their offensive weapons enough to overwhelm the system and ensure they can retaliate with nuclear weapons. So this won't help reduce or slow down a nuclear arms race. It will actually accelerate it. The February will be much like the 4th. What I believe we truly need to focus our attention on, is the upcoming year and indeed the subsequent years that follow and the overall trajectory, the path that we are currently heading down. I mean, this moment truly marks a very significant and potential turning point, leading us into a much more dangerous and unpredictable period of global nuclear competition, the likes of which, we have absolutely not witnessed in our entire lifetime.